Hey everybody, it's Robert Alaniz with Johnny B, and this is the Collecting the King Show, episode 37. I wanted to bring out the black box because I have some interesting things that I wanted to show. And the black case. This has been around, oh man, how many years? Probably 40 years or more. Record show after record show, Memphis, Tennessee, from the 80s. I think I first got it in the 80s. And but anyway, this was my my collector's box. I always had the rarer or more interesting records in there, and that's the record case. So let's open it up. Let's talk about this. This is a record I just found recently, and we were talking about this last night on the phone, if you remember, but I didn't get a chance to show it to you until now. Anyway, what this is this is a GI Blues living stereo cover. It basically looks just like the original living stereo cover that came out, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when I was looking at it, I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. But of course, the thing that caught my attention was it had the red inner sleeve. And those of you who know, if it has the red inner sleeve, it is an orange rigid. Okay. And we'll talk more about the rigids in a minute. The orange rigids are worth money because there just weren't that many made. There were a lot of them from Elvis in Memphis, the NBC TV special. Those that originally came out on orange rigids are not as valuable. But when you find soundtracks like GI Blues, Fun Acapulco, I'm still looking for Roustabout on a rigid. Those are pretty rare. And one way you always can tell is the pink sleeve. And that would, let me show you better. This is the pink sleeve. And this is the sleeve that came out in '68. Mm-hmm. And I think the NBC TV special is with this sleeve, and so is From Elvis in Memphis.
Yeah, From Elvis in Memphis.
And also, Memphis to Vegas, Vegas to Memphis. And also, when they divided that album up, an International Hotel, live at International Hotel, and back in Memphis. The rigids all have this sleeve. So when I saw the cover and everything, I looked at it, I got all excited. So I looked at it, of course, the record is Stone Mint. But then I thought something caught my eye, and I thought it was kind of weird because my first thought was, oh, okay, it has the living stereo cover from 1960, right? But then I looked on the bottom, there's an RE. For some reason, I could not remember an RE being on a rigid. I called you up and I said, to get your thoughts. But here it is. Take a look, see what you think.
Well, I looked on the record database. And the one thing I know is, see this box here? Mm-hmm. This is not on the original cover. It's down here. It's something like down here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a difference.
But here's the thing that confused me. Those of you know, I worked with Jerry Osborne on 4 volumes of Presleyanna, and I had to look it up myself and check the covers. Nowhere in the book is an RE on the back cover mentioned. But you found it on Paul's site.
It's on the Elvis record database. It is pictured there.
It is pictured. Yes. But the problem with it, he doesn't necessarily say that it's specific to any particular label. So we don't know when I guess what I'm saying is I don't know when the RE happened. My first thought is it would happen on the 1964 reissues. Because a lot of covers were changed at that point. It's a little odd though, because the living stereo on the front, on the cover here, this was gone. I mean, the whole living stereo label was pretty much gone in '64. But as RCA always does, they continue to use the covers or the slicks or whatever. I don't know the reason behind it, but again, I just never seen an RE on this cover. So if anybody out there knows anything about it, let us know in the comments. I just think it's very unique. You don't go too many places, folks, and walk in a record store and find a Stone Mint orange rigid of anything, let alone GI Blues. But anyway, that's something I wanted to show.
Well, they had to have used this cover for quite a while because he could have had the white top stereo, could have had the silver stereo, and this is an orange rigid. So that came out in '68. So they had to have been using this cover for quite a few years.
Right.
Then.
But you know how RCA is.
Yeah, well.
They could have easily gone into '64 using the regular cover from 1960 and then changed this
in 68.
To the rigid in 68. Yeah. So if anybody knows about that, let us know. Paul, I know Paul watches the show. If you know anything, Paul, let me know based on your experience. Now, the next thing, this is just a debate thing. that I wanted to talk about, okay? Everybody, you can collect any way you want. I have no problem with the way anybody collects. If you want all the sealed Pickwick albums in mint condition, every variation, God bless you. I hope you find them. You can collect anything you want. I know, because this guy collects anything and everything, okay? So I have nothing against that, because I don't want anybody to take me wrong. There's one thing that I find very strange is and I mentioned this in a previous show, the whole thing about the inner groove label versus the flat label. I keep reading on Facebook, they're saying, oh, well, the groove, if you have the groove, then it's a rigid. And then another person says, yes, that's correct, because if it's flat, it's a flex. I'm going to disprove that theory right here and now. Because somebody asked, and I saw it maybe a week ago, somebody asked, so how come this isn't mentioned in Presleyiana? All right, folks, I'm going to tell you why it's not mentioned. Because it's not, in my opinion and Jerry Osborne's opinion, true. Okay, and here's what I mean. All right, John, you take that, all right? All right, now that and this, all right? You're both looking at this, all right? We're going to start with this one. This is the earlier cover. It has the staggered stereo up in the corner, right? Okay, look what sleeve's inside. It's an orange rigid, okay? Now, you hold on to that one. Orange rigid, and this is...
Deep groove. Deep groove, they call it. Deep
this
groove.
is the deep groove label. And you can tell because it has this inner circle on the inside of the groove, all right? There is no doubt, give me your opinion, that's rigid, am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So that's rigid, deep groove, and according to what I read on the site, someone said, okay, that's a guaranteed rigid, right? Okay, let's see where it was pressed. Let's see if I can see the number, the plant. Hollywood. Okay, so this is a Hollywood pressing. All right, so let me put this back. Hollywood pressing, deep groove, rigid. And those of you watching know where I'm going with this. Watch this. All right, so John, show us the cover of that one again. All right.
Took the record.
All right. That is
a
later cover, which normally is seen after 70, like 1971 issues, mostly. However, the RCA block letters, which you see in the upper left-hand corner of the album, those covers actually, or those block letters were actually used in 68 because they were on the 68 Comeback album, and they were also on the From Elvis in Memphis album. Am I correct? Okay. So that also means that there's a possibility, and that's what we're going to show you here, that cover could have been pressed, or the changes to that cover could have been made as early as 68 on this reissue. Okay? And remember, this is the same record. Now, pull that one out.
The orange, pinkish, whatever.
Pinkish orange sleeve. Yeah. And what record's in there?
And it's an orange.
And is it or is it not rigid, John?
It's an orange rigid. It does not have the deep groove. It has a smaller inner circle right there.
Right.
It's not on the border. It's right in the middle.
Right. Now let's see.
And it's
what
definitely a
plant
rigid.
Is it from? Let me see if I can see. Rockaway. Okay. So, why am I showing you all this? Okay. Because I'm showing you because this is in answer to what the one person asked about. You know, is the rigids all with the deep groove? Is that solid proof that that's a rigid? No, it's not. There's one that's not a deep groove, and it's from another plant. So the answer to all this is when Jerry and I were working on the book, and this whole deep groove and other thing came up. There were other people, other collectors way back, as far back as I think the 90s or early 2000s, that kept saying, oh, well, there's a difference. The deep grooves are definitely rigid. Okay, well, maybe a little bit more of the deep grooves are rigid, but they're not exclusively rigid just because they're deep groove. Okay, because that, the other one you guys just showed you, that's considered the flat label.
It's a rigid.
So if it's a rigid, that blows the whole theory to pieces. Because Jerry and I said the reason why you can't say that one's rarer than the other because they're just two different plants.
It's just a plant thing.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's all
it's
it
just
is.
a printing.
This was Hollywood, and obviously they had extra covers left over, right? And they used the extra covers. Or that was the brand new cover in 68 that came out same time as Elvis TV special and from Elvis in Memphis, and they put it in there. But you have 2 rigids, 2 different covers, 2 different labels, and 2 different plants.
It's basically, like I said, it's California. That's the California plant did it their way. Another plant did it their way. That's all.
And I understand, because you do want to try and find rhyme and reason to certain things. And there are some things that are logical. Like we all know the tan labels. Tan labels were definitely in 76 to the end of beginning of 77. We know that. That whether no matter what plants were involved, we know where the tans are. So, but it just doesn't apply with this.
I've been doing this for many years too. If you're trying to figure out what RCA did, you will end in a straitjacket. Because that's the because I was thinking about that because I was wanting to collect I was thinking about why the difference between Elvis today and Promised Land. Why most of the country got it on tan, but California did it on orange. Did they not get the memo? Hey, we're switching to tan. So again, that's a crazy one too. I don't understand why that was done that way. So,
we have a lot of viewers that watch the show, and they know that. Mike Butcher, he's another viewer, regular. They always mention that thing, like try to find logic in RCA. Good luck.
Years ago, I bought a 1254 from a guy from New York. It was sealed, but the shrink was really coming off. It was terrible. And I thought, I'm going to open it, because I thought it's got to have hopefully it has the MONO or maybe the Monoro, because this was the second 1254 cover. And I opened it. You know what was inside? A long play, like 27S.
Yeah.
So it was a real late printing of the 1254 album. But again, why would that have been in there instead of the MONO or the Monoro? It was a long play. So they did so many crazy things. You can't figure out.
And like
RCA.
I said on the Pickwick show, there's different people saying, oh, well, this label looks like this, that label looks like that, it has this cover, it has that label. Pickwick's were a bigger mess than RCA. They threw RCA records inside, Pickwick covers, and nobody commented whether it's ever been done in reverse. But there's just no rhyme and reason to Pickwick, and same thing applies to RCA in many cases. But there are some pressings and some plant things that we can count on, and we can say for sure. Even the stickers. There's always a debate about, is that an RCA sticker? Well, no. Some stickers aren't. Like, remember the one sticker that says 2 record set? That's not an RCA sticker.
Yeah. The red sticker.
Yeah, it's not an RCA sticker. It's either a factory sticker,
it's a generic,
or a distributor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that records, when they leave the plant, they would go to distributors, companies within cities, and then those distributors would take the records and distribute them to the record stores. And sometimes they would get something, and they would, perfect example. You remember the Gold Records 4 or 3 that I found a long time ago that had the sticker that said the book was inside?
Yes.
Okay. It's on the cover of Presleyanna, the last Presleyanna, and the reason why it's rare, it's not an RCA sticker, and we never claimed it was. It was a sticker done by a distributor in Milwaukee, who when he got the record, he got the book. So he took the book, put it inside, and the distributor made a sticker that says includes the book and put it on. So a lot of people don't realize there's a middleman in there, and that's how some of these stickers show up. And now, everybody, it's time for Collecting Thoughts. Not only do you get my thoughts, but you're going to get Johnny B's thoughts as well. Today is February 12th, and this is the day after the Super Bowl. I was at the health club working out, and I just got done, and I get a call from Johnny B. And, John, why don't you tell them what you told me?
Well, I saw the new FTD vinyl release.
Upcoming
new release that's coming out, and I was highly, highly disappointed, to say the least. I don't know
folks, he was like highly...
I don't know what's going on with FTD. Again, this is my opinion. We'll talk about it. I don't like it particularly. I think it's beautiful, but I don't really understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay, and just so you know, what we're talking about is, for some unknown, bizarre reason, FTD decided they're going to reissue Moody Blue. Now, let me say that again. They're going to reissue Moody Blue. So I don't believe there's any different music on there. I could be wrong. So it's probably got the same material as the original Moody Blue release, which was on clear vinyl, limited number, et cetera, which is now long gone and out of print. But now they're re-releasing it with the same picture, but they a different colored cover and sparkly gold vinyl.
Yes. Orange label, sparkly gold vinyl, and the cover's all gold. Now, same picture on the front and the back.
Right.
Same material, I'm sure.
Right.
Sorry.
Now this is going to cost, what, $70-something?
75 with tax and shipping, around $75, $76.
$75, folks. All right, $75 for a reissue of an FTD that has already come out. Okay? All they did was change the cover and the vinyl. Now, what does this remind you of? Do you remember that show we did when we were talking about the insanity of all of the overseas, like the DOLs?
The foreign DOL label, wax time, and that kind of stuff.
And that's what upset you because, you know, the problem with the DOLs and some of those records, it seems like in Europe, and I've said this before, they just keep reissuing the same thing over and over again, but, oh, it's blue, now it's red, now it's green. But it's the same damn record, same one, you know? They're milking us. Well, guess what, folks? FTD's doing it now, too.
For the last 6 months, we've been waiting, and then they're going to re-release, which I didn't believe at the time, their Boulevard. You know, they did it on black vinyl.
Yeah.
I thought that was, phony baloney. That's not their, and they did. Now we're waiting with breathless anticipation again for the next, and I see this, it's going to be Girl Happy, or it's going to be Frankie and Johnny.
Or Double Trouble.
Double Trouble, or Clambake. No, it's Moody Blue. And I'll say, it's beautiful. The cover is beautiful, and the vinyl's pretty, but why? And it's limited, I think, also it's numbered to 4,000.
Let's talk about this. First of all, it was very easy for them to do the black vinyl of Elvis Presley Boulevard. Very easy to do because they already had the pressing plants ready to go because that album had been pressed. So some executive somewhere, I find it hard to believe that Roger Seaman, who is in charge of the vinyls, Ernst Jorgensen is in charge of the CDs. Roger was in charge of the vinyls. And I say was, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I find it hard to believe after all the times we saw Roger. And folks, we saw Roger almost every year in Memphis for a good 10 to 15 years. When he first put out Blue Hawaii, he told us he was doing a vinyl. You know, that's how far back we know Roger. And Roger, whenever we saw him at the Peabody or walking around, we'd always say, "Oh, Roger, what's the next vinyl?" And he would tell us, remember? He says, "Don't tell nobody, but the next one is Good Times," or whatever.
Yeah. And he gave it to us for free.
Right.
He gave us each a copy.
Anyway, the reason I'm bringing up Roger is because Roger's original idea for the Follow That Dream vinyls was to either do upgraded versions of the U.S. pressings, which he did with like Blue Hawaii, or release an album that had material that was going to come out that never came out, like Standing Room Only, or even The Jungle Room. His idea was basically to modify Elvis Presley's U.S. catalog, all right? And he did it. I mean, think about all the records that came out with different covers. Then they had additional material, and they were cool. Some were colored vinyl here and there, but not a lot. And then he also said that he could not release a vinyl, remember this, unless it was on CD first.
Right, yes.
So that's why the Jungle Room sessions on vinyl, he put that out after the CD was already released. So every once in a while, he would put out a vinyl that was on CD, right? Elvis at the Movies, right? Or the last movies or whatever. He put that out on vinyl after all that material was released on CD. But when we were talking, you were saying that you didn't think Roger was in charge anymore.
I just don't know. I mean, it's a theory. That's the only thing I can come, because Roger had such passion for especially the soundtracks, the 60s soundtracks. And all of a sudden now, you know, like I said, I don't know what age. You think he's around late 60s or at least mid 60s? So
no, I think he's closer to my age. So he's probably either approaching 70 or over 70.
Well, so my theory is maybe maybe Roger retired, and someone else has taken the head of the job now, that his job, and this person might be a lot younger. And maybe this person is following the trend of color vinyl, redoing what they're doing. Because I just can't see Roger doing these covers. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Roger's still there. Maybe we'll find out. But I don't. These just don't feel like Roger's work.
No, the key thing you said here was passion.
Yeah.
Okay, Roger had a passion for vinyl. And you could tell when we talked to him. He was saying, "Oh man, I remember the first time I ever bought the first Girl Happy record." And then, of course, they were different because he's from England.
Yeah.
But he remembers what they look like. And he remembered when he first saw the first American pressing, you know, and he was very passionate about it. But Ernst, with all due respect to Ernst was always more of a business guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to put out this and we're going to put out that because it's not been released. And BMG wants me to come up with another special release for the anniversary. You know, and he even told us, and we mentioned on the show before, he told us in person that they had run out of stuff.
Yeah.
That there was nothing left. And so now they're just going to have to come up with whatever the hell they could put together. Well, the vinyls look like that's what's happening. It looks like the passion's gone. It's now marketing. It's now for the money. The term money grab is perfect for this. I have the original here I was going to show you. This is what the original looks like. It's a 2-record set. It's clear vinyl. And it has it has this picture on here, which, by the way, is nothing to do with the original Moody Blue. And I mentioned this before. Jerry Osborne found the original record slick that they were going to use for Moody Blue. Most collectors have seen it. It was, I think it's listed in Presleyanna and in the pictures. You may have seen it other places. But it was basically the picture, the little teeny picture, right, that was on Moody Blue, except it was bigger. Am I right?
Yes.
And then this top part is exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
All right. So in the new one, the only thing that's the same is this picture, which was not on the original Moody Blue. And he removed this part up here and made it into that Elvis Today logo with Moody Blue underneath it in small letters. And it's in the middle. Is it a beautiful package? Yes. Well, you got to admit that.
The vinyl's beautiful.
Yeah, because it's got glitter.
It's like, yeah.
It's like a glitter gold vinyl. Mark, Elvis for Everyone channel, who I did a stream with. Okay. Mark is a great guy, and I say I have nothing but respect for him. But he did a video just recently, and you know what I'm talking about, where he was saying he wished FTD would like reissue
all
the albums. Well, Mark,
maybe your wish is going to come true.
Maybe your wish is going to come true, but it's not going to save you any money because they're going to reissue them with different covers and colored vinyl and charge the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And
if they do that, we don't know that for
if
sure.
they do that, I mean, if this trend continues, what's the big dollar?
Well, they could do Standing Room Only, or they could do Blue Hawaii, or Elvis's Back Sessions, or any of those early ones. They can I don't know.
And with all due respect, it was an interesting video about reissuing them, but there's a bad side to it. And it's funny that when I saw this record today, I thought right of Mark. This is the reason why Mark's video bothered me, because I'm thinking you don't want to go back and reissue the stuff over again. You know, let it be. I mean, if you didn't buy it when it first came out, oh well. You know, if you didn't buy from Memphis to Vegas, Vegas to Memphis with the bonus photos and the back and the sticker on the back, oh well. You know,
it hurts the collectability. Well, some of these people were saying they want them to go back and do all the early ones, but do them on black vinyl. Just reissue them on black again,
so that other fans
can
afford.
Right, they can pay $50, they can pay $75 instead of having to pay $500 or $600 for Standing Room Only. They can get it for $75 on black.
But I admit, and you admit too, yes, that's a lot of money for those records. Right? $500 for a record, it is crazy. And there are some idiots out there I shouldn't say that, but there are some sellers out there, well, maybe they are idiots, who are selling, early records for $1,200. $1,300 for a Jungle Room sessions or something like that. There's some people asking that, and then a rich guy may come and do it. It might happen. So I understand the logic, but here's something you gotta keep in mind. All right, and I said this in a previous show, but let me say it a different way. Don't put down a guy who can afford a car that you would like to drive because you don't have the money to buy it, and he does. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so you can't afford it. Okay, then buy it when it comes out. Now that you know they go up in value, make sure you get it. Nobody knew that those records were going to go up as high as they did. I've been doing this for years. I never knew that Blue Hawaii, and I mean, I bought them when they first come out. I didn't think nothing of it. I never thought down the road they were going to be so valuable, but they are. And there's nothing you could do. You can't go in the past and change it. You know, if you can't afford a Mercedes, don't buy a Mercedes. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I paid a lot of money for records. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have. I mean, if there's something I really want, I'll pay for it. You know, even though I can't really afford it, even though I have to, you know, pull it out of savings or something, or put it on a credit card. But I mean, if it's something I've been looking for years and I want it bad enough, I'm going to buy it, and that's it, because that's how you complete your collection. So, well, anything else about this Moody Blue?
You know, I mean, now people say, are you going to buy it? Hell yeah, I'm going to buy it because I'm an addict. You know, I'm addicted to this stuff. So am I going to buy it? Of course I'm going to buy it. But I'm not happy about it. I mean, you know, I'll put it on the shelf and maybe down the road they'll be worth, you know. But I think part of this is because the Boulevard sold out, what, a couple of weeks when they did the Blue. And so that might be part of the trend. They're saying, oh, well, look at how fast we sold
it's
Boulevard.
It's a marketing thing.
Right. Look at how fast that sold. So let's do it with now Moody Blue. We'll do 4,000 and they'll sell out in 2 weeks.
I don't think Roger would have done that.
I just don't know if Roger, I could be wrong. Like I said, if somebody sees the show, somebody knows Roger, or in England, if you're watching, if you know what's going on, you know, because, you know, I always used to say, well, what happens if Roger, remember I used to say, what happens if Roger retires? Because he's that age. Yeah. So who's going to take over? Are they just going to stop printing the vinyl and go away and just say, that's it, we're done? Because, you know, again, Ernst is in charge of the catalog. He's not in charge of the vinyl.
Right.
This was the vinyl. Roger sold that to the board. Remember, he told us he had to go before them and say, I want to do vinyl for the fans.
Because they didn't want to do the records.
They didn't want to do the vinyl.
That was Roger's. To do with it.
That was Roger's baby. I don't know. I'm just disappointed. Been waiting months and months for the next release, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Girl Happy. It's going to be Clam Baker. Not that I'm not a big fan of the sound, some of those music, but I thought, I want to see a different, you know, they need upgrading those covers. We've been seeing Frankie and Johnny and Clam Bake and Spin On Girl. We've been for years, the way Roger did them, I wanted to see a brand new picture and stuff.
They were on a roll, and you could tell, like Speedway and some of the other ones that came out, those soundtracks that were just beautiful, you know. You could tell Roger had something to do with it because they have all those great photos that Elvis took from those photo shoots that he did for the movies, and they picked different ones and made new covers, and you could tell Easy Come Easy Go was a great idea, even though it wasn't really an album. Yeah, but it made a hell of a great looking album, right? Even though it was just an EP.
I like to see us even rather have that like they did Fun and Acapulco. I know you don't like the little RCA Victor circle on it.
Don't get me started on that.
I mean, I don't need this movie. I'm sorry. I hate to be negative, but it's my opinion. I'm not real thrilled with this.
That's okay. Haven't you watched the other YouTube shows? Yeah. All right. So, you know, this time I did most of the talking, so you could tell how passionate I am about this.
It's,
A couple last things I want to say, folks, is I'm not really sure why I don't have more, subscribers. You know, I really don't know. Maybe I need to do the show from my bathroom and use my phone, sitting on the toilet. I don't know. I try to do like this production
You
type
need more
thing.
Johnny B.
And then, well... Is it really Johnny B? Maybe he should.
If you like the show, folks, if you want, subscribe. They're always saying subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps us when you subscribe.
I mean, you know what? Another thing, it takes a lot of effort to make these shows. It's not easy. You know, John has to drive 45 minutes. At his age, that's like an eternity for him to drive to come over here. So, give this poor old man a break. Seriously, we need some more subscribers. So please tell your other friends, hit the subscribe button. If you like the show, hit the like button. Even if you don't like the show, hit the like button. Anyway, I am selling on eBay. I still have some more stuff to sell. So keep your eye on eBay. We're doing really well with the FTD collection I just bought. And you never know what's going to pop up. We're going to be putting on some collectible LPs as well, regular United States pressings, things like that. And I think that about covers everything. So, John, if there's anything else you want to say?
Can we mention the gentleman you said who said, because it's a follow-up to the Friday music, you said the gentleman contacted you, he found or discovered 2 Friday musics perhaps that we don't know about or that weren't on the list?
He has not been able to sleep. Okay. He wants to know what those other Friday musics are. Okay. So if you could somehow in the comments below or send me an email, let me know what the Friday music variations that you said were not on his list from a previous show. Send that to me. I already sent him an email.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, and I haven't checked my email, so he could have already responded.
I'm just curious what title and if they were on color
so
vinyl.
Excited.
I'm just curious. Well, we wanted to know. That's why we said if somebody out there discovered something we don't know, please let us know because I'm curious to know. I'll probably never find them. It might be impossible to find them.
And he's not going to sleep until you let us know.
I'm just curious to make a note of it.
I'm Robert Alaniz. This is Johnny B. And
we're out of here.
He said it.